Hey, Hodish Hockey here for the first in-season review for the 2021-2022 season. And man, this was this was not the start that I think we were hoping for, and honestly, that I was expecting. Um, I guess I want to get into the games first of all. So we're starting off game one here. It was great. I mean, all the hype that I had in the preseason uh, followed through. I mean, Kopitar had a monstrous night. He's continued that throughout the year so far, which has been amazing. But just such a great game for the Kings, and it was really nice. Then we played the Wild, and not as good of a game. The Wild are definitely a team that just have our number. They play the style of game that the Kings just can't really do much against. We saw that last year, and it kind of continued, into this season. But I wasn't panicking too much. Then we played the Predators, and this one I started to panic a little bit more because the Kings looked flat. I mean, they've been doing well all year of having a lot of energy, and in the first game, Kopitar was putting away a bunch of chances. Since then, no one's really putting the puck in the net besides him. But this was the first time it just looked really bleak. And then I'm making this video right after the fourth game, and now I'm just sad. I mean, Drew Doughty getting hurt is going to be very, very bad for us. In the preseason, videos that I made, I knocked on wood for you guys, saying that the Kings have been really lucky with injuries. I'm hoping that the wood still stays lucky for us because, knowing Drew Doughty, he's just a freak of nature. I mean, he barely works out or does anything, and he's able to play 30 minutes a night, no problem. So I'm really hoping that this is just a scare and it's, not a big injury. But if it is, what a blow for the Kings, because he's really been one of the only guys who's been doing anything on the team. And, that's where I want to kind of get into the not so good stuff, along with some of the good stuff. So from what I've seen so far this season, I think the biggest problem for the Kings is the depth. I think we're a two-line team. We're playing teams like the Wild. We're going to be playing, obviously we beat the Knights, but we're going to be playing teams like Vegas who have four strong lines. And that's how we're going to lose. And that's how we've been losing so far, why we lost to the Predators, why we lost to the Stars, because we only have two lines. I mean, I could talk about how great of a season Kopitar is having right now, and it's amazing, and I'm super happy, but that's the one bright spot. I think the second line with Philip Deneau is doing exactly what the team wanted, and I really think a big part of that is something that Jim Fox talked a lot about for the last couple of years is that, stop the bleeding mentality. And I think the second line right now is a very good stop the bleeding line for the Kings. They're a line that you could throw out there when the momentum's not going our way, when it feels like we just can't get the puck out, and they'll get the puck out. And, it didn't really happen against the Stars tonight, but they're really good on the forecheck. They'll get the puck out of the end zone, bring it to the offensive zone, and do something with it. The big problem is after that, there's nothing. So they can get the puck out of the D zone, get into the offensive zone, cycle it a little bit, wear out the other team's defense. But the third line just isn't going to do anything. And the third line really is non-existent. I think, we saw tonight the fourth line getting third line minutes, and they deserved it. I think the fourth line for, not really doing much with the energy that they have. They do have energy. They're playing hard. I like what I'm seeing from Kupari. Grundstrom is not as good as Lemieux, which I'm a big Lemieux hater, but I have to admit that, the Kings were right in Lemieux being a pretty good person to put on that fourth line and keep that energy up. And then Lizotte, it's just, that's where you want someone like a Jared Anderson-Dolan who has a little bit more skill, who can find open men, make better passes to be able to play that fourth line center, but it's just not happening for the Kings right now. So, the fourth line's kind of doing what it needs to do. But the third line is where the trouble is. We just saw Kachiov get benched. I'm not surprised. He had a really good game in the first game, but both of his points came on the power play. And one of the crazy stats for the Kings right now is that Jonathan Quick has more 5-on-5 points than all of the bottom six combined. And I think every defenseman except for Drew Doughty combined, none of them have a point 5-on-5. Velarde got a goal on the power play tonight, which was good for him because he's been just invisible, along with the rest of the third line. Like I mentioned with Kachov, he's just not doing enough. Kaliev's come up and he's just not ready. He's not ready for the NHL, and you can see that. He's making little plays that are just not at the speed and the pace that the NHL is at. And Velarde, it's just tough with Velarde because he has the skill, but again, I just think it's a pace thing. I think in preseason he can do really well because it's not NHL games. There is a big difference between the preseason and the regular season, and when it comes down to it, he's just not playing hockey at the level that he needs to be, and it's unfortunate. And I feel like if Byfield was healthy and wasn't hurt, it'd be time to put Byfield into third center line. I mean, it's that to me is the biggest problem for this team. I want to shout out one of the viewers. It's a tough name to say. It's I'm guessing Armenian, but Hagin Alexanian said in one of my preseason videos, the third line and the goaltending are going to decide the fate of the team this year, and that is the most true statement I've seen. We know that we have a great first line. We know our second line's good. The defense, obviously the Doughty injury puts stuff in the air, but the defense is good enough. And this season, I have to give him credit. The defense is actually pushing up a lot more and being more engaged in the offense, which is something that the Kings have talked about for the last 2 years of doing, but they never actually did it. So it's really nice to see that. But the third line has just let us down. Goaltending, I don't think that goaltending's cost us a game yet this year, but I haven't been really sold on Jonathan Quick. I mean, the game tonight against the Stars, the overtime goal is not a good goal to let in. The Heiskanen goal, not a great goal to let in. When you outshoot a team like we did, you just can't give up 3 goals, and I don't know when the 1-2, 1A, 1B is going to stop, but, Cal's looked okay, but they haven't really been the reason that we've lost or won a game yet. So jury's out on that one, but the third line has just really let us down. When we look at the defense, I think Edler was a good addition. He's doing what the Kings wanted to do. Again, Doughty injury is really bad. Hopefully it's not serious because he's looked really good. I mean, he's made some turnovers and he's a little shaky on the back end, but definitely putting up points, and that's what you want to see from a guy like Drew Doughty, which he's kind of stopped doing for a long time. Mikey Anderson is someone who I'm a little worried about because he's not playing at the level he was last year. If he doesn't have Drew Doughty next to him, what's that going to mean for him? But he's been having a rough start. There's been quite a few goals scored against us that were off of Mike Anderson mistakes. And for a player who I really believe can be a really solid shutdown defenseman, it's not been the best start for him. Bjornfoot, on the other hand, I like what I'm seeing from Bjornfoot. He looks more steady defensively, and he's really getting into the offense and getting down low. There's times where he's leading the rush on the offensive end. So I like that from Bjornfoot. That's what I want to see from Bjornfoot. But like I said, Mikey is just, it's a struggle for him. Sean Walker's another guy who I've been pleasantly surprised for. He's a guy who I kind of called out in the preseason videos, and I think he's been, along with Bjornfoot, he's really trying to create more offense. Even Matt Roy is trying to join the offense a little bit more. So I do like that from the Kings. It'd be nice if that would make more goals happen, because right now we're just getting a lot of shots and nothing's going in, which is not not something new for us Kings fans to have to deal with. But I like that there is change. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, the team looks like they're playing a lot harder with a lot more aggression than they were last year, and that to me is a really good sign. It's just the finishing isn't there. And like I said, I really think if we could get a good bottom six, at least a decent bottom six, because right now it's not decent, it's very bad. That would help, because like I mentioned with the second line, Kempe, AI, Dano, they're doing really well, getting the puck deep, wearing down the defense. But then, for that to work, they need a third line to come on and be able to abuse the fact that they've worn the defense down, that they've got the puck down low and cycled it a bunch, and we just don't have that line to throw out there after them. I mean, when the game gets close with 5 minutes left, we're a two-line team, and only one of the lines is scoring. Dano has 1 goal, and that's it. So it's just been a really tough start to the year, because I feel like there's a lot more there. I just don't know how we're going to see it, because I really don't think the kids are ready. I mean, I would have said that Kaliev was the most NHL ready, Kaliev or Kupari. But when you see them play, you can tell that they're just not at the level yet. And so I think this year, for as hyped as I was, as hyped as a lot of people were on the team, it just doesn't look like it's going to be the year for us, because unless you make a move and you get a real third line center, maybe a veteran guy who you can trust, then I don't see things changing for the Kings right now. And the Doughty injury is going to be really rough if it's bad. I hope it's not, because I really feel for him. He was looking pretty good this year. He really wanted to play in the Olympics. I thought he might get a look just because he's putting up a lot of points in the first couple of games. But now it's just hopefully he stays healthy. And I'll be back in maybe a week or two after some more games, and hopefully the team kind of figures it out a little bit more. But man, something needs to change. And like I said, with Lemieux, he's a guy who already you can tell the Kings miss him. Elias Anderson's a big one. He's the reason why the third line looks the way it does, because Elias Anderson drove the third line all preseason. And I kind of talked about it in the season previews that Elias Anderson should be the center. He should be the main man on that third line instead of Velarde. And now that it's back on Velarde's shoulders, he's not playing as well. And so if Elias can come back, if Lemieux can come back, if Athanasiou can get healthy, maybe he adds some speed and some goal scoring touch to the bottom six. Because at this point, I'm so lost at what the Kings should do that I'm honestly thinking bringing up Austin Wagner might be the right call, because at least he can do something with the speed, because I just feel like every time that third line gets put on the ice, the play dies, and we're back to defense. And you throw out Kopitar's line to hopefully get the puck out and restart everything. So it's been scary so far. A scary 3 games. 1-2-1 is the record. Some pretty weird teams at the top of the standings in the Pacific. I mean, the Sharks are on a tear right now, so that's not good for playoff hopes. But I guess we just have to look back at the first game and think, maybe Kopitar is just going to keep scoring at the pace he is, and somehow we're going to stay in contention. Kopitar is going to win the Hart Trophy, the Art Ross, Maurice Richard. He's going to win everything. He's at the top or leading in pretty much every stat. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully you guys stick around. Find out what happens with Drew Doughty. Like I said, he's a freak of nature. Hopefully that helps him out. And stick around. Subscribe to the channel. I won't be making videos like I did last year every game, just because I was recovering from cancer back then, so I wasn't working. Now I'm working again, pretty busy in my everyday life, so I just don't really have time to make the videos every night. But I'm gonna try and do these, 2 to 4 videos a month, just kind of recapping what's going on and talking Kings hockey, because watching it isn't the best right now. So it's nice to get your thoughts out and I don't know, vent a little bit, because man, after this game with the Doughty injury, losing the game, it's just it's getting tough again. It's only 4 games in, and it's starting to feel bleak. So hopefully we turn it around, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.